And I'm going to stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States. Present, come. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order, come. Honor guard, dismissed. You may be seated. It's live right now.
It's live. I don't usually speak into a microphone, so. And I will tell you that I left all of my notes at home, so this is either going to be the best or the worst day for you. My name is Nancy Cann. I am the state coordinator for Quilt of Valor Foundation in Kentucky. I have been involved with Quilt of Valor for not quite a year. I was indoctrinated, sort of, I will say baptism by fire, as they had the exhibit in the National Quilt Museum. And Kentucky didn't have a state coordinator, and I had just joined Quilts of Valor and decided to come to the conference, and they said, oh, we need a state coordinator. I said, oh, okay. So my job, in a nutshell, is to develop the quilting community for Quilts of Valor, to get quilt shops to join in, to locate quilters, to make quilts and donate to Quilts of Valor, to reach out to veterans and award Quilts of Valor, and do all of that with a smile. So I'm trying very hard to do that with a smile. Sometimes that task is overwhelming. However, when I come to a day like this, it is the greatest reward for me to be here, to be able to serve all of the veterans that we have sitting in this front row by awarding their Quilt of Valor, so that they understand the gratitude and the energy by which this nation appreciates their investment, their time, and the things that they chose to do so that we could all be here today. Quilts of Valor. So a little history. Robert, I don't do good standing still. Can this come out of here? But I'm on a short tether is what you're telling me. Okay. All right. So Quilts of Valor Foundation started back in 2003. And I'm sorry if you've heard this story before, but I find it compelling to tell every time I make an award. Catherine Roberts, a military mom, an Army mom, had a son who got orders to go to Iraq. And like most of us military moms whose children are serving, when we hear that they're going into a compromised war zone, we are one step from panic for the entire time that they're there. Catherine had a dream. And in her dream, what she saw was this young military man back from war, up and awake in the middle of the night, just troubled, deeply troubled by his demons. And like turning the pages in a book, the next page showed this veteran wrapped in a quilt, a comforting and healing quilt. And there was peace around him, and he was calmed, and he was comforted. That first Quilt of Valor went to her son. And from that day in 2003, Quilts of Valor Foundation, which is now nationwide. That was a little Midwestern town. Quilts of Valor is nationwide. And from 2003 to this day, more than 140,500 Quilts of Valor have been awarded to veterans in this country. And we will not be finished until we have wrapped every veteran in a Quilt of Valor. What brought me to Quilts of Valor, I'm a Navy wife, I'm a Navy widow. I was a Navy wife for 25 years, active duty. It was a great life for us. We loved it. You can look at my age and you know it was during Vietnam. I'm a Navy mom. I have a son who is still active duty. He is a Navy corpsman. I'll tell you a funny story about my son. He wanted to go into the Navy when he was 17. He was an early high school graduate. And I said, okay, I'll sign the papers. Let's go talk to the recruiter. See, I haven't been a Navy wife. I knew a little bit. Very little, but I knew a little bit. And I went to the recruiter and I said, you find a job for him in the Navy that will translate as a civilian career, and I'll sign the paperwork. Because I knew he was going to need something to do when he got out of the military. Well, they offered 3 or 4 different things, and I said, nope, sorry, nope, sorry. He wanted to go to the Marines, and I just wouldn't. I wouldn't sign the papers for him. That was just my own little hang-up. So then the recruiter and my son said, how about a corpsman? I thought, a corpsman? I've been in overseas bases in the naval hospitals where we have corpsmen taking care of families. And I said, it's great. Well, they were way smarter than I was. Because what I didn't know is that the Marines don't have corpsmen. The Marines have Navy corpsmen. So my son got his way, and he's completed 2 tours in Afghanistan. He's now in Virginia, and I thought, he went to Italy. He did a tour in Italy, and he came back, and they thought, it's all good. It's all good. Well, no. He evidently appreciates that part of the job for him. He is now attached to an embassy rescue unit out of Norfolk, Virginia. So he knows what he needs to do with his life, and I know that I need to support him in whatever way I can. That's my history of what brings me to Quilts of Valor. I know that all of you were in the same position that he's in. All of you made a decision, no matter what your job was in the military, when you enlisted, whether you enlisted or were drafted, when you signed that paper, you made that commitment. And that commitment for you was to defend and protect at whatever cost. It doesn't matter what your job was. It doesn't matter where you did your job. What matters is that you made that commitment. And everybody had a job to do somewhere in order to support this country, and you did. And for that, as a nation, we will be forever grateful for who you are and what you gave. And we know that that commitment comes at great cost to you and at great cost to your family. And we thank you. We thank you from the bottom of our hearts for your service. I like to talk. But it's also warm in here, and I want to move you through quickly. But I want you to appreciate those family members that are here. I want you to appreciate what it means to us within the Quilts of Valor Foundation to be able to provide and award this Quilt of Valor today. So I want to talk to you a little bit about a quilt. I like to think about the quilt in these terms. The pieces on the top, I can use this one, the pieces, all these little pieces that we cut apart and then we sew back together to make them look differently. These speak to me of the community, of your family, of your friends, your neighbors, your nation, that come together as differently as we are for a common goal. That which is inside the quilt, the batting, the piece that provides the warmth, that provides the comfort, and the backing of the quilt. That is typically one large piece or multiple pieces. That is the foundation. That is our nation. in the layers of the quilt. And then the stitches within the quilt from the quilter. The love, the energy, sometimes the tears that are invested in the making of this quilt. As we think about what it is within you that allowed you to commit to this great nation that we have. That's why quilts. That's why Quilts of Valor. That's the warmth. That's the comfort to you from a grateful nation. I'm particularly excited today. This is the first time I've done multiple award ceremonies over the course of this not quite 1 year that I've been the state coordinator. But I've never had in the same ceremony, in the same room, Korean veterans, World War II veterans, Vietnam veterans, Iraq veterans, Afghan veterans, Desert Storm and Desert Shield veterans. And we have somebody from each of those conflicts with us today. That is so deep in my heart. I am so moved that you all are able to be here. Each quilt comes with a certificate from the Quilt of Valor Foundation. Susan, where are you? Would you grab one of those envelopes over there, and I'm going to ask Susan to read this certificate to you. She will leave off the name of the veteran because each of you has your own certificate, but the certificates read quite the same.
So in this case, the certificate is for U.S. Army and U.S. Marine Corps, Vietnam. The Quilts of Valor Foundation wishes to recognize you for your service to our nation. We consider it a privilege to honor you. Though we may never know the extent of your sacrifice and service to protect and defend the United States of America as an expression of gratitude, we award you this Quilt of Valor.
Each veteran has a certificate specific to him or to her and his or her service. That certificate is frame quality if that's what you choose to do. Before I start awarding the quilts, I just want to make one comment about these quilts. Many times a veteran will receive this Quilt of Valor and they will want to take it home and they will want to hang it on a wall for all to see, their Quilt of Valor. And I can't tell you that you can't do that. What I can tell you is my heart will be much greater warmed if you take this quilt home and you put it on a chair or a sofa that you frequent. And when you need warmth, or you need comforting, or you're having a bad day, or you just want to touch the arms around you of a grateful nation, that you will pull this quilt off the back of the chair and wrap yourself in it so that it gives to you what we intend for it to give to you, and that is comfort and healing. Make your choices how you will. But when you hang it on the wall, I want you to see this face that says, I'd much rather it were wrapped around your shoulders. But it's your quilt once I give it to you. On the table over by where Robert is standing is one of these plastic bags. Your certificate is inside the bag. Your name is on the outside, so you don't have to dig. But your certificate is in the bag, and also in the bag is what we call a presentation case. A pillowcase. Call it how you will. The intent of having this for you is twofold. If in the warm weather you choose to fold your quilt up and put it away for a few months. If you choose to store it, it should be stored in a 100% cotton container. If you put them in plastic boxes, the fabric will deteriorate. If you put them in cardboard boxes, the critters are going to chew through and enjoy your quilt because they are 100% cotton. So if you are going to store it in the case that's provided for you. Otherwise, put a pillow in it and sleep on it wrapped up in your quilt. But it is provided to remind you that you should not store it in a closed container. It needs to be able to breathe. I tried to go through, I know I introduced myself to everybody coming through, and you'll forgive me, I know all of your names. I've been working with your names for about 6 or 8 weeks now, but I don't know all of your faces, so I apologize. I'm going to struggle putting a name with a face. I'm going to start with our Korean veteran, and I'm going to work backwards. I have people here. Mary, if you just come over to the end. Colin. This is Mary and Colin's status. They are going to help wrap veterans in their quilts. Susan, you can go right over with her. Thank you. And Donna. This is Susan Paul and Donna Warden. They are also going to help. You're fine. I didn't set this up very well. What they're going to do, we have a policy when awarding our quilts. We hold the quilt up so that everyone around you can see the beauty of your quilt. And then we wrap you in your quilt. And then our wrap is followed by a hug. If you are not a hugger, if you do not want to be hugged, just put a hand out so we can shake your hand. Otherwise, you're going to get hugged on both sides. Jack, are you going to help wrap veterans as well? Could you come across here and go over with them? This is my son, Jack, who has been involved in Quilts of Valor for as long as I have. Okay. When you have had your quilt wrapped, your person that has wrapped you is going to follow you back to your seat and offer to refold your quilt for you. Or you can say, no, I'm just going to hold it. That's sort of up to you how you want to handle it. Okay? Or if somebody is with you to give you assistance, and if you guys will move to whatever side of the room they're at. Robert Claude. Let's see. Now, while we're setting this up, I will tell you that you will never see two quilts alike. No veteran in this country will ever receive a quilt exactly the same as anyone else's. Okay, can you guys walk over to Mr. Claude? Each quilt, most quilts, are named by the quilter. You will notice on the back of the quilt, fold it down, Mary. There you go. On the back of the quilt is a label. The label has the name of the topper, the person who sewed the pieces together on the front of the quilt, and it has the name of the quilter, the person who did all of the stitching to put the layers together. It has the name of the recipient, the location that it was awarded, and the date that it was awarded. Have him turn around. No. Because we have a camera over there. We have people taking pictures. Okay, well. Francis Shear. Daddy? Everyone's going to be a wow statement because they're just beautiful quilts. Okay. Back down. Can you step up here and help us by getting in front of your quilt? Welcome home, Mr. Claude and Mr. Shear. Marvin Willett. Esther Willett, and welcome home. William Townley. Oh, he's over here, Jack. You know, they can go to him as well. He doesn't have to move. Let him look at his quilt first. Forgot the two shortest people in the house trying to wrap the tallest. William, and now this is a mouthful and we discussed this. This is William Willett. All of his paperwork says William Clark Willett because you need to breathe in between William and Willett. That's the back. There you go. Sometimes the back gets as pretty as the front. Mr. Willis, thank you home and welcome. Welcome home. Thank you for your service. Those are our Korean and World War II veterans. Edward Duff. There you go. Up. There you go. Okay. You step into that. Mr. Duff, welcome home. Thank you for your Joseph Torian. All right, that's what I wanted to know. Right over there, Mary. Mr. Torian, welcome home. Thank you for your service. Ben Hogenkamp. Baby boots. Oh, I'm sorry, you didn't say vegetarian, did you? Welcome home, and thank you for your service. For testing my memory, Jean Hoffenmeyer, who I came to know on paper as Eugene. Mr. Hoffmeyer, welcome home. Thank you for your service. Those are our Vietnam veterans.
All right.
Robert Watson. here. Back. We're amateurs, you know that, right? Doesn't matter how many times we do this, we get caught in the emotion of it and we sort of float through just like you. Thank you for your service. Welcome home. Oh, is Corey here yet? He's here. We just hadn't walked in. All right, I'm gonna hold it. Michael Burns. Welcome home. Thank you for your service. Harold Pruitt. Oh, I wonder if we should have a ooh-ometer. Oh, I didn't see that. They're doing better than me. Gordon Beal. Stay there.
Matches your shirt.
So we have a twofold today. We have Brian Packard and Deborah Packard, husband and wife. We get Deborah, welcome home. Thank you for your service. Brian, thank you for your service. Welcome home. Corey Kurtner. Did y'all not tell him why he was here? You did not tell him why he was here. You're the only one they got to pull this out on. Donna, do you want to go over here? Corey, thank you for your service. Welcome home. Well, you can see we have an empty table, but a very full heart. We are very grateful to all of the family members who came to support your veterans today in observing their receipt of their Quilt of Valor. We are especially grateful to our veterans for your dedication to service to this country. Welcome home. I would like to say thank you to the people who helped. Some came with me today, didn't know quite what they were getting into either, and some who worked on this end to set this up long before I came. Robert, thank you. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon and do all you can to spread the word about Quilts of Valor. Don't forget, either veterans designate a family member or family members take it upon yourself. Make sure you get their bags over there. Thank you so much for coming.